So I want to share with you an aspect of the history of slavery that really isn't discussed much, and that is these court cases involving slaves or their owners, family disputes involving slave property and other property. And there's a really good PDF out there about this, Black Texans in the Texas Supreme Court. Now, this was compiled back in 2014, February of 2014, published by Linda Seibert Hudson, PhD. So I'm just going to share some of these cases with you. And I mentioned here before on the channel, by the way, welcome back to the channel, Culture Confederacy here. It's Wednesday night. Happy Wednesday, everybody. And if you're new, what you see is what you get. I generally use a still shot, a Chew My Voice smartphone. We talk about history, preservation, culture, current events related to that. Fight against taking down all these statues, whether it's a Confederate statue or a statue to Thomas Jefferson, George Washington. And being somebody who writes music in his spare time, I don't want people censoring what I write. So at any rate, let me share this with you. It says here, the database of Black Texans in the Texas Supreme Court, 1840 to 1907. So this is pre-Civil War, at the height of slavery, post-Civil War, during Reconstruction, is available online for use by those interested in the history of Black Texans. The aim of this database online at the Portal of Texas History is to further the knowledge of slavery and free blacks in 19th century Texas. It says here also, historians of U.S. slavery exclude Texas from broader legal studies because of the Spanish legal influence, or Texas was a developing slave frontier. And we tend to forget, and I've talked about this before, we tend to forget about the Spanish influence on American culture. I was born and raised in the Tampa Bay area. You can't escape it. It's in the architecture. It's in the names of the places down there in Florida. So a shout out to everybody who's watching in Florida. Where it says here, they write that Texas justices wrote nothing on slavery. Primarily, historians ignore Texas in broader legal studies because no easily accessible list of appellate cases is available. But they've been able to compile 485 cases that make up this database. Again, covering these cases in the Texas Supreme Court, 1840 to 1907. So let me go through this with you here. And they break this down by case and justice, the year that that case took place or was heard, type of case, slaves, names, county and judge, facts and opinion. And it's really well laid out here. So a really good job to Linda. Shout out to Linda. Let me find her name again here. Doing this in one take, guys. Linda Seibert Hudson for putting this together. So this is a really good resource. And go check this out along with the Georgia state slave laws. You'll learn a lot. I did. Things I didn't know about slavery. This is in no way a defense of slavery here, but if you're wanting to research the topic, those are a couple great resources, or this is one of them, to go check out. So they start out here with 1854, Abel versus Chandler, type of case, warranty character, under slaves and names, male slave Abel Chandler. Looks like this took place in Cherokee County, may have been a Cherokee judge. It says here, facts and opinion, reversed and remanded for new trial. Negro was warranted as honest and trustworthy, but had vices. Alexander versus Kennedy, 1850-70. 1850-70. There you go. Said we're doing this in one take. 1857. If I can get the words out, we'll be good tonight. There you go. There's a year for 1850-70. Property inherent. So this involves 6 slaves. Lawrence C. Alexander, Thomas Kennedy are also named here. And this took place in Lamar County. The judge was W.S. Todd. Reversed and remanded. Husband abandoned slaves of spouse. Her parents paid taxes and used labor, now both to share slaves of deceased. Alfred's administration versus Cochran, 1852. Higher debate. Flora John Alfred Cochran. This took place in Austin. It's like Austin County. Affirmed Cochran sued the state of Alfred for hire of Flora and her value $800. In today's money, that would be much, much more, of course. Family claimed Flora, but she goes back to Cochran. Now, I was researching this because there was, in the Georgia slave laws, there is a there's a prohibition on not just maiming or disabling a slave, but there's also it's the second bullet point in that section of laws that states that that if you commit a crime, or if you hold a slave who committed a crime, or you aid and abet a slave that committed a crime, that you could be fined up to 200 pounds. At that time, they used pounds because we didn't quite have an American currency yet. So, I'm sorry, that's my laptop going low on its battery here. But we're doing this, as I said, in one take. And $200 in today, or 200 pounds in today's money, would be over $40,000. So stiff penalty for aiding and abetting a slave who committed a capital crime, such as, let's say, murder. Or if the master conspired with the slave to commit a crime, they could both be charged, jailed, fined, you name it, sentenced to death. So for the sake of time, I'm just going to go through a few more of these. Anderson versus Anderson, 1859. Property debt. 4 slaves are involved here. William G. Sena, B. Anderson, Samuel T. Burns. It says here, Panola R.A. Reeves. So it was in Panola County. R.A. Reeves was the judge. Judgment affirmed for Mrs. S. Anderson, who owned slaves sold by BBA. Case here of manumission. Armstrong versus Jowl. That was in 1859. Natural children. Albertus Arnwine Armstrong. Took place on Rusk County. It says here from Cherokee. C.A. Frazier was the judge. Affirmed free children by name and will, provided for removal from state. Brother claims as heirs. State law does not override wills when provided for slave removal from state, as does in South Carolina, Georgia, Mississippi, or Alabama. Now, there's a case here, I'm trying to find it, where they had shot or accidentally shot a slave. I'm trying to find that. But a lot of these had to do with family disputes of who owned what. So slaves were included in that property. I'm still looking for that one here. Oh, here it goes. So this took place in St. Augustine County. The judge was A.W.O. Hicks. Brady versus Price, 1857. Offense against slave shot and maimed. Georgia state slave laws. There you go. It was against the law to maim or disable a slave or kill a slave. Affirmed, it says here, Overseer Brady shot slave with buckshot. Price sued for damaged slave. Quote, the right to life and limb is an inherent right which the law of the land does not pretend to take from the slave. And one final one for you here. 1847, Brewer versus West, property debt. Involves Jack William Brewer, James Carter, Ed West, Miles Reed. Took place in Red River County. Reversed and remanded. Brewer sued West, who wants note canceled but does not state he will give slave back, should pay 3 years' use. So I thought I'd share some of these with you. Tell me what you think. Thank you again for letting me work my way through this. Again, a one-take video. Hope you enjoyed it. And you can find me at Instagram, Jason197711. Find me at Substack or go to Culture Confederacy at CultureConfed1 on X. This is the Culture Confederacy saying peace out. Stay safe, everybody. Keep up the culture. God bless, and I'll catch you next time.